Okay, we're doing a large property today outside of Bismarck. Hawk Tree, it's called. This is a fox gray. It's 2.5 pounds of a charcoal color. Long lines on this one. We had a little bit of rain here the last couple days, so it's got washed out a little bit. So we got to do a little fixing, a little raking for the landscaper. But you know, we're going to show you guys what we do with a regular trowel and a finishing trowel. You'll see how the curb machine runs here. PR Sting. Go ahead, buddy. You should be getting about 15 feet per mix. Usually what I do is I step it off. Normal steps, you get about 5 mixes, or 5 steps per mix. That way you know that you're in the right ratio. He's running a regular flared trowel. Okay, it's got a flare on both sides, and we'll show you. So we're basically going to spray our troweling lubricant, which is we call Kanga Piss. We just spray that on the curb a little bit, mist it on there. And he's going to do it again before he does his finishing trowel. Now, a finishing trowel has a flare on the front but does not have on the back, so we do not want to go backwards with this trowel. This is only to go forward to get that nice and smooth. You can see the difference, how much smoother that is now than it was with the first trowel. Okay, essentially that's all you should have to do. If your mix is correct, if you're using the right chemicals and everything else, that's all you should have to do to trowel this. You know, we don't call it troweling, it's just finishing. You can see a little bump right here. He's going to go ahead and cut those joints. I'm going to go get a tool here and fix that bump. Now what we use is just a regular knife. This is a chef's knife. The chef's knife to cut the joints with. We're at about 18 inches to 2 feet to cut joints. We don't really want to go any farther than that. And then we come by, you know, after that with a roller like this, and he just rolls those joints to make sure that they're nice and smooth. But right here, we got a little bump right here. Pretty easy, especially on dirt. Just to manipulate that a little bit so you can get that smoothed out. You run your trowel vertically on the back, and you can look from down the line here to see if that has smoothed out. You can see that that's a little bit smoother. I still might have a little bump right here. Usually if you have another guy with you, he can tell you if that's good or not. That is pretty smooth, pretty flowing. He's going to go ahead and roll those joints, and then we'll look at what we got for drainage here. So he's going to just simply roll that. Not doing anything crazy. We're not going all the way down the back side or all the way down the front. There's going to be rock on the back. There's going to be grass in the front. So really don't need to nitpick on anything like that. You can see how the line flows. Okay, everything is smooth. Curb is perfectly smooth. We'll go ahead and seal this after the fact with a high gloss concrete sealer, and we'll be done. And then I try to make sure that, you know, we stay at about the right ratio. We talk about ratios and everything in our other videos. You know, most people use 4 buckets to one 47-pound bag of Portland. That is not a 4-to-1 ratio, because that 47-pound bag of Portland does not get to the top of the 5-gallon bucket. It's about 3 inches short. So technically we tell people 3.5 buckets and you'll be at about that 15 to 16 foot range, which is going to be your 4-to-1 mix. If you're putting 4 buckets in there, you're probably getting about 18 feet with a slant style curb like this, which is going to be a little bit too high. It's going to be a little bit too far. You're going to notice it's going to be a little bit harder to trowel, harder to get smooth, especially harder to stamp. You can see now he's running his finishing trowel right through there. He's getting his elbow on the outside of the curb so he can get a little bit more pressure on the back side of that curve. That's an outside curve, so we're worried about cracking on the back side. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and cut joints on this. You can see I got a couple little bumps there. Sometimes it's easier to fix those bumps and manipulate the curb after the joints are cut, because it's going to be a little bit more pliable, obviously. You know, if you got a nice soft curb like this and everything's correct with the chemicals that you're using, you know, we're putting gravy in here. We're using a mason sand because of that. That curb comes out of there, it's nice and soft, it's easy to move, it's really pliable, and obviously super easy to work with. We go as fast as the mixer can mix. We only use 1 pile driver. We're buzzing right along here, and it's you know, at this pace right here, you're 180 to 200 feet an hour with this machine. You can see how he just rolls those. It's nothing complicated. You know, some guys have hand tools they use for joints, which is great, fantastic. For us, this is all we do. We just clean them up a little bit, which is obviously a lot better than just leaving them on their own. Trey, Got a little bump right in front. Nope, come my way. Right there in that joint. Yep. You can see just a little bit of a bump there, I would see. Okay, he's gonna move that. You can see how soft that is to move it. And then he'll run his trowel vertically along the backside, and you can tell from looking down at the curb on how that looks. Okay, much smoother. Yep. Just that little thing right there, it makes it flow a lot better. Okay, so I just usually do a step, about 5 steps, about 15, 16 feet. I can tell when it's coming out of the machine if that mix is just a little bit bigger. What I'm doing here with the lines, landscaper painted the lines. Most of these guys can't paint a line worth of crap, so I either repaint them or adjust them on the fly to make sure that they flow. This whole property here again is it all got rained out, washed out, so we're gonna have to do some raking and things like that, and that's sometimes what you got to do. You can see now he's already ran his first trowel. He didn't go back and forth at all with that first trowel, even though he can, because it's flared on both sides. Now the blue one, okay, is not flared on the backside. It's a straight edge, and he's going to get his arm on the elbow on the outside to make sure that that is tight. And now when he gets to that inside curve, he's going to make sure that the front of the curb, you can see you put his thumb down, okay, because it's going to an inside curve. We want to make sure that the outside of that right there is nice and tight. Okay, so you can see how that flows. Once that's cut, we'll go ahead and take the flat trowel and we'll look down the backside and make sure everything's smooth.